This here is a remarkable,
Welcome to the Wedding of Distinction podcast, a program for the unique bride and groom. The Wedding of Distinction is a concept where brides and grooms want something better. Not just your average wedding. We have the tools to make that happen. Now, here's your host, Mike Fernino.
Welcome in, everybody. Very happy New Year. This is the Wedding of Distinction podcast. And yeah, this is my first program of the new year, 2026. Imagine that. And we are in winter here in New England. That's pretty much where I do all of my recordings, even though this program is an international podcast now. We're actually in 32 different countries, which blows my mind. But where I'm sitting currently, it's cold. It's miserable. There's ice. There's snow. And I need to get the heck out of here. And I'm very excited with this episode today because we're going to talk travel. Specifically, we talk honeymoon travel because it, of course, is a wedding-based program. The honeymoon is a traditional part of the modern American wedding. Couples plan and stress and really work hard at creating their wedding and often find themselves to be totally depleted and in need of a break. The honeymoon is an opportunity for the couple to truly connect on their very first travel venture as husband and wife. It's supposed to be a fairy tale and a way of starting your lives together with a signature moment that you will never forget. Unfortunately, not every honeymoon ends up like a fairy tale. And if you don't have the right person to work with and try to plan your honeymoon using a third-party source, well, it could end up turning into a nightmare rather than a fairy tale. On the program today, I have Merceades Gonzalez, and she is with Go and Wander Travel Company based in Fairfield, Connecticut, serving the world, of course. Mercedes and I dive into some of her popular recommendations for honeymoon destinations as she provides some very important information and advice for our couples. So listen up, sit down, get a glass of margarita, close your eyes, and imagine a tropical sunset, warm trade winds, and blue ocean waters. Let's go. Today on the Wedding of Distinction podcast. My guest is Mercedes Gonzalez, and she is from Fairfield, Connecticut, but she's a travel agent, so pretty much anywhere anybody can utilize her services. The name of her group is Go and Wander Travel Agency. And Mercedes, thank you for a little time today coming on the program on the Wedding of Distinction. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Mike, for having me here today.
My pleasure. Believe me, it's my pleasure. I love talking travel and love going places. So people plan weddings, and obviously the honeymoon is still an essential part of the wedding celebration. Couples go away usually traditionally right after their wedding as a way to begin their wedding life together as husband and wife. Also to kind of wind down from all the travel and running around and preparation that goes with planning a wedding. It's very stressful, but there's also couples that are now staggering their honeymoons. So let's talk about your experiences as far as working with couples and putting together honeymoons. What are you doing right now with your couples as we head into 2026?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I want to point out, I always say that the honeymoon planning is the best part of planning a wedding. Let's just put that out there. I think it's like the least, I tried to make it as least stressful as possible. I think, it's like something to look forward to. And for the most part, it's like, something that you get to enjoy. So think of it as a cherry on top. And you're right, we are seeing a lot of couples who are not really going on their honeymoon right away. So two things. One, when we are working with our couples and they're planning their honeymoon, first things first, and I want to put it on record, is I do not recommend that you go to or leave for your honeymoon the day after your wedding. I think a lot of people have this notion of like, oh my gosh, I have to, have my bags ready. And like, if my reception ends at 10 p.m. and I'm hopping on a flight at 6 a.m., I want to put everyone, please don't do that, okay? One, it's really stressful. It adds so much stress to you as the couple. And sometimes, and trust me, I know from experience, we have had couples who have missed their flights because maybe they partied too hard at their wedding or they kind of just slept in a little longer. So I always say, if you are planning to have your honeymoon right after your wedding, please at least give yourself one full day in between. You are going to thank yourself. You're going to thank me. It'll just make the experience so much better, and it'll make your travel day a lot less stressful, right? Like you'll be a little less cranky, hopefully. So that's the first thing. Then, for the couples who are thinking of having their honeymoon at a later time, and I see this a lot with my couples who are like in the teaching professions or just maybe have to kind of like spread their PTO a little bit differently. We can totally do that, right? We can still plan your honeymoon well in advance. Most time, I always say the sweet spot to plan your honeymoon is like that 10 to 8 months mark area. That's normally when flights are released and we can still get like low deposits for clients, and then you still have time to pay and plan for it. So those are the two ways you can go on your honeymoon right after the wedding, but give yourself a day in between, or you can go at a later date.
You're 100% spot on. Way long ago when I had my wedding, we had a Friday night wedding, and we were going to leave on Sunday morning for JFK, and we had that Saturday as that buffer day, and just spent it with family, and didn't even get to sleep late on Saturday night. We were just so wiped out from the wedding and everything, the emotion that at 3:30 a.m. On our door was knocking our limousine driver to bring us into New York. We were both still sleeping. We slept through our alarms. So what you say is so true.
Yeah. I remember just a few years ago, we had the same thing happen with like one of our couples. I'm like, I told you, please don't do this. So now I'm just like, I really don't recommend it. And I even have couples sign off on like a little disclaimer about it, just because I plan weddings and destination weddings and honeymoons every day, all day. I just know.
Now, Mercedes, in the age of the third-party sources like Travelocity and Expedia, yada, yada, why is it so crucial for your honeymoon, which is obviously a different level than just going on a vacation somewhere? Why is it so crucial to hire a professional travel agent in today's day when people can sort of do it themselves?
So first things first is I go and I visit the resorts and the properties that I sell. And I think that is very important. I, invest a lot of time going into the countries, seeing the resorts, meeting staff, forming relationships. So when you partner with me to plan your honeymoon, I know most times like who the general manager is at the hotel. I know who the reservations manager is. So if there are requests that we have to put in, I'm emailing them directly, right? There is no 1-800 number. And then the other thing that I really take pride on is you guys work with me directly. You guys get my cell phone number when you guys are in travel. Any questions that kind of come up, you guys have me as your advocate on the other hand, versus if you went through a third-party supplier. I know from, my times now as a travel advisor, but I'd have to call into a 1-800 number. I'd get, reps from all over the place that maybe weren't really like sure what the location was. And then they had to ask their supervisor and then connect me to someone else. And honestly, we just take care of it all. Like I handle all of that for the couples.
Right. If you ever had to deal with one of those companies, I won't even mention all their names. There's a whole bunch of them out there. But if you had to deal with one of them and you're on a trip and something goes wrong, good luck trying to get through to their service. That's not a pleasant situation, especially on a honeymoon.
No. So like the cool thing is like about 30 days before my couples take their trip, I provide them with an app. So our company has an app that they can download, and on there it has everything like emergency phone numbers, their itinerary, their travel documents. And then I highlight really big, like, hey, once you're in travel, so I give them permission like 24 hours before, you're able to like text me, and then they have my like in travel number, which is really nice.
Where are couples going in 2025, 2026? What were the popular destinations last year, and where do you see people, booking and wanting to go for their 2026, 2027 honeymoons?
So we still find that a lot of people are still traveling to Mexico, which is really nice. I have seen a different kind of change. So last year, we sent a lot of clients to Costa Mujeres area, which is in Mexico. Like you'd fly into Cancun, and it's about like maybe a 40-minute drive. And they have the most beautiful beaches over there. But then I've also seen an uptick in Los Cabos, which is closer to like your California side. And over there is really nice because you kind of get a different scenery. It's like ocean and desert all in one location. Have you been to Cabo yet, Mike?
I have not been to that side. I've been to the Caribbean Gulf of Mexico side, Playa Mujeres, And
Oh,
Isla Mujeres has been the places that I've gone.
oh,
Beautiful.
those are beautiful too. Hmm. So Cabo is really nice because they have really pretty beaches. One thing about it though is like if my clients are avid, like, hey, we need to be in the ocean swimming, I tend to shy away from Cabo just because the currents and the undertows are very strong over there that they don't recommend swimming, right? But for my beach lovers or my adventure people or people that want to get on the water and, go see the arches, it's a really nice place. There's a ton of different resorts that are like located by the marina. So that way you can like do tons of different boat rides. We can do a private one. We can do a shared one depending on budget. So Cabo has been one. I think it's just really cool because it's like very desert like out there with like mountains. And then like on one side, it's like the desert. And then one side, it's like the ocean. And I just never seen anything like that. So that has been popular. And then we have seen a lot of people start booking smaller islands, which I'm super excited about because I got to visit them last year. But St. Lucia, have you been to St. Lucia yet?
It's on my list. I want to go so bad. Oh my
You
gosh.
need to go. You need to go. So St. Lucia is a very popular one. It's very different than, I guess if I can back up a little bit, right? I always say the three major places that most, couples or think about, right, when they think of all-inclusive resorts is like Mexico, Jamaica, and Dominican Republic, right?
Right.
Because they have the most resorts, they have tons of different variations of properties. They're a little bit more mainstream, is what I like to call them. But then I always, try to educate couples about like the smaller islands, right? Because they're so beautiful and they're just provide a different experience. So, like St. Lucia, for example, we sent a ton of people to St. Lucia last year. Over there, that's where I normally will send my beach lovers, right? My couples who love to hike, who love adventure, but still want that shorter commute, right? So it's still about like a little over 4 hours from like the JFK area, which is where we live. And it's just absolutely beautiful, especially to see like the pitons, and it's really stunning.
I was going to say that St. Lucia reminds me like the closest thing in the Caribbean to Hawaii. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. I would say that too. Yep. If you're looking for like an Hawaii alternative, that's really cool. Like over there, they have like the sulfur mud baths that you can do. Like I said, you can do tons of hiking. It's super green. And then, like I said, they have beautiful beaches over there as well. So we have done like catamarans. We've taken, we've had people like do different hiking options, go to the pitons, go to like Pigeon Island. There's just so much to do, which is really nice.
I agree 100%. What other islands are you seeing out there as very popular with
Yeah.
your clients?
The other island that I'm seeing too, that is becoming very popular is Antigua and Barbuda. So I always like to say Antigua and Barbuda because sometimes people pronounce it as Antigua, but that is not the island. Antigua is in Guatemala, so the island is Antigua. Just a little fun fact, because even myself, I'm like, I have to remind myself how to pronounce it. But that island is really nice because again, it's very short commute, especially if anyone is listening from like the East Coast. Again, a little over a 4 hour flight. And I'm not sure if you know, but they have 365 beaches. That is a different beach for every day of the year.
Wow. Very nice. And they're right next to each other, so you could island hop very easy.
Very easily. Yep. I normally recommend just like a quick flight. It's very affordable to go from one to the other. So our couples will normally stay like in Antigua because of the like that's where most resorts are. And then they'll do like a day trip to Barbuda. Over there, they have like the famous like Nobu restaurant and the pink sand. So that is a lot of fun.
Can you give us a update, Mercedes, on Jamaica? Obviously, unless you weren't paying attention, there was a pretty big hurricane that happened in late fall, and it really hurt Jamaica. What's the resiliency of those resorts there, and how are they coming back?
It was so devastating with the hurricane and the damage that it caused for so many of our properties over there. Jamaica and the people who live there are just so resilient, and They are on the move, right? So Montego Bay area got hit pretty hard if you've been following the news. So a lot of the resorts in that area are still closed, and they've decided to kind of just take the time to do like full on renovation. So a lot of the resorts in the Montego Bay area are closed through the end of the year for most properties. But a lot of their sister properties in like the Negril area and the Ocho Rios area are open. They're fully functioning, full staff, and then they're already taking clients over there. So Jamaica is still accepting tourism. They're open. All of the flights are back on. And then I guess like depending on where you want to go. So you can do like the Negril area or Ocho Rios.
Yeah, the thing with the hurricane is it had wobbled at the last second, and so it kind of split the country. The east side was pretty much spared, and the west side's the one that got clobbered. So that's what happened.
Yeah.
Give us your sleeper pick for a great honeymoon destination.
If there are full-on beach lovers, I love Turks and Caicos. Turks has like the most beautiful water. Like you can take a glass, put it in the ocean, and it comes out just crystal clear. They have like that white sand, so I would definitely say Turks and Caicos. But Aruba is also like a really nice place for clients to go to. It's a very small island, a little over like 20 miles radius. So a lot of our couples will kind of just rent a car and they'll kind of like beach hop along the coastlines. And to get from like point A to point B is like an hour, like from the top of the island to the bottom. So it's not too bad.
And what do you see with some of your clients requesting non-tropical destinations? What are some of the non-tropical destinations that might be popular on the list?
Italy. Italy is so popular right now, especially the Amalfi Coast. We had clients, actually, they'll do kind of like, not a backpack around Europe, but they will do like country hopping. So that is pretty popular. Or they'll do like just traveling along the Amalfi Coast is what we've seen a lot of requests for.
Mercedes, we didn't even cover cruises now. I assume cruises are very popular for honeymoons as well. What are your clients requesting, and what are some of the popular cruise lines and destinations?
Yeah. So cruises are a great way to see multiple islands in just one shot, right? So it takes away the hassle of like island hopping and moving your bags and repacking and all of that stuff. So we see a lot of couples who actually go down to San Juan area, which is in Puerto Rico, and they'll take a 7-night cruise and they'll hit all of like the smaller islands. Like let's say St. Kitts, St. Croix, Martinique, Dominica, like all of those little islands that are a little harder to get to just because of flights or maybe how expensive a stay for a hotel might be. And then we also have, popular destinations from Miami. So you can visit like the ABC Islands, which are like Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao. And then we also, last year, we put a lot of clients on European cruises. So I did mention earlier that Europe is a hot destination right now, but a lot of people are not a fan of having to pack your bags and, run to the train and take another flight or be on a train for 3 hours. So cruising is another way to, explore different islands while having the same room accommodations every night. You know what you're wearing every day. You just have to unpack once, but you're traveling all week. And I'll give you a prime example. This year we have tons of couples going to Greece, and like my popular itinerary right now is on the Norwegian cruise line, and it's called oh my gosh, the Pearl ship, right? It's a smaller ship that Norwegian has. And they're going from Venice all the way down to Greece. But in that 1 week trip, they are visiting Croatia. They're going to like Dubrovnik. They're going to Olympia, Santorini, Mykonos, and Corfu. So think about it. You're visiting all of those, islands and countries in 1 week, and you only have to unpack once, and you're waking up every day at a new port. And I think that's a really cool experience. And that's the experience that cruising gives you.
Fantastic. So let's talk about the agency now and how people could reach you.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're located in the New York, Connecticut area, but people can utilize your services anywhere around the country and internationally. So how can they find you, and what's the website and all that good stuff?
So they can go to goandwander.com. So GONWANDER.com. I am very active on social media as well. So Instagram, they can find me at go.n.wander. And I'm also really big in the TikTok world. I love to go on TikTok. I post lives of the resorts that we visit. I do a lot of like mini talking series. So I'm also on TikTok as Go and Wander.
Mercedes Gonzalez, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. And I'm going to start dreaming about my next destination now.
Yes. Thanks, Mike.
Have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you for listening to The Wedding of Distinction.
We hope you are enjoying the podcast. Your Wedding of Distinction host, Mike Fernino, is a 30-year veteran of the wedding industry as a professional DJ and master of ceremonies. As the founder of Music in Motion Entertainment, Mike has worked with thousands of couples over the years, creating dynamic and exceptional events that stand out in the eyes and ears of the wedding guests. Music in Motion is a full-time professional wedding service based in Connecticut and serving the surrounding states, also offering photography, custom lighting design, videography, photo booth, and live classical and jazz musicians. Call 203-627-9600 and ask for their wedding e-brochure or visit their website at musicandmotionentertainment.com.
This here is a remarkable,
The Wedding of Distinction podcast is a production of Music in Motion Entertainment. All rights reserved. Any unauthorized publication of this program is strictly prohibited. For the Wedding of Distinction podcast, I'm Mike Vincent. Happy wedding planning, everybody.